High temperature 86 with a south wind at 10 to 20. Lows tonight will be back in the mid 60s with a steady south wind.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It's great to have you along. We're getting the endorsements. The endorsements have started. Republicans who are endorsing Kamala Harris and Trump reacting to that. And how much attention do you pay to endorsements? We'll talk about that coming up this morning. Forgive my voice. Wasn't a good night for me.
Discernment is on the air. I love the Greg Belfrage Show.
I've been listening to you for years, Greg. Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed.
You sound a little taller on radio. Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time.
I don't believe in a no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. Hope you had a terrific weekend. Great to be with you this morning. So now we start with the endorsements. Republicans who are endorsing Kamala Harris, not Donald Trump, and this is really generating a lot of reaction. How important are endorsements to you? I mean, this is what it boils down to. I just look at these and I think, how important are endorsements to other people? Because I look at endorsements, they really don't mean that much to me. They really don't. I mean, it doesn't deter me from voting the way that I plan to vote. Oftentimes, it just aggravates the hell out of me, in what some people are saying. And that's certainly the case this morning. You've got it all over the place. Liz Cheney started out. She was, and I don't think this will come as any big surprise. You heard this story on Friday. Liz Cheney supporting Kamala Harris. And the media has been presenting like, this is a shock. And I'm sitting there going, what? This is predictable. I knew this was coming. Who's surprised by this? No, I was not surprised. So then you have Liz Cheney endorsing Kamala Harris, followed by her father, Dick Cheney, says he's voting for Harris in November. He says that Donald Trump can never be trusted with power again. Cheney, in a statement, said, in our nation's 248-year history, yeah, I think he was there for most of it, there has never been an individual who is a greater threat to our republic than Donald Trump. What? Serious? He tried to steal the last election using lies and violence to keep himself in power. After the voters had rejected him, he can never be trusted with power again. He said, as citizens, we each have a duty to put country above partisanship to defend our Constitution. That is why I will be casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. So that is Dick Cheney making those comments over the weekend. Also, we had, forgive my voice this morning. I actually got a good night of sleep last night, but I'm feeling like a bug of some kind is coming on. So forgive me. You can certainly hear it in my voice, and that's 9 times out of 10. That's right where it starts. So Sarah Huckabee Sanders was reacting to this issue. She was on ABC News This Week program over the weekend, and she said that Representative Liz Cheney is significantly in the minority when it comes to her opposition to Donald Trump. And she said, here you look across the board, prominent Republicans are supporting President Trump, but ultimately, I think she's a non-factor. She said, I'm not trying to be rude, but you don't get to call yourself a conservative or Republican when you support the most radical nominee that the Democrats have ever put up. That doesn't make you a conservative. It certainly doesn't make you a Republican. It makes you somebody who wants to protect the establishment. Absolutely right. So she had followed, Liz Cheney was also on This Week. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders and following Liz Cheney. But you're also getting reaction then from Bernie Sanders, who is tipping his hat to the Cheneys for what? When you're getting it, Bernie Sanders is saying, that he doesn't agree with them on anything, right? But he appreciates their courage in being able to come out and, play. That's what that is. That's courage. Do you see that as courage? I mean, I'm really, really curious to get your thoughts on that over the course of the morning. Do you see that as courage? And how much attention do you pay to these endorsements? I just get tired of them, seriously. I do. I just get tired of them. Folks want to share their point of fine, share your point of view. The media just makes the biggest deal out of these endorsements. Are they big to you, though? I don't know that the media is seeing that in the way that many of us are. Maybe I'm wrong. That's why I love getting your thoughts. So Donald Trump also going after Dick Cheney. Trump said on True Social, Dick Cheney is an irrelevant rhino, along with his daughter, who lost by the largest margin in the history of congressional races, Trump said. So I agree. I think they're rhinos. I don't, and I just don't think Americans are sitting on the edge of their seats caring about, hey, endorsements. I'm not. I'm able to, and I know many of you feel the same way. You're able to put together your own conclusions, look at events, make your own decisions without somebody talking about, telling you who you ought to vote for or these endorsements. So you have Liz Cheney, then Dick Cheney. So then the questions turn, what about George W. Bush? Is George W. Bush going to make any endorsement? And he told NBC News over the weekend, no. The office said President Bush retired from presidential politics years ago, so he is not planning to make any endorsement either for Kamala Harris or for Donald Trump. He's just not making an endorsement. And I thought, okay, now that at least I can appreciate. Somebody who's saying, you know what? No, I'm not either way. I'm not going to endorse either way. And I'm like, I can appreciate that. A lot more than I can appreciate what Dick and Liz Cheney are out there saying. Dick Cheney, whoa. So that was all the office of George W. Bush said, is that President Bush retired from presidential politics years ago, and they were asked, will he or his wife endorse a candidate or make public how they will vote? And Bush's office said no. So he's staying out of it. So I mentioned Senator Bernie Sanders. He is applauding the Cheneys for endorsing Kamala Harris. So Sanders was also on Meet the Press. And he said, what I think Dick and Liz Cheney are saying is that this is an existential moment in American history. It's not just issues. Cheney and I agree on nothing, no issues, but what we do believe in is the United States should retain its democratic foundations. Bernie Sanders, who is, an avowed socialist, leaning toward Marxist, talking about democratic foundations just makes me laugh every time I hear it. So Sanders went on to say, I applaud the Cheneys for their courage in defending democracy. Obviously, on all the issues, we have very different points of view. And he said it's not enough to say I'm not going to vote for him. This is just wild. So then I see, so we're told now these are Republicans, right? These are Republicans. They're not endorsing Trump. Liz Cheney and her father, these are solid Republicans. This is what we're told. Then why is it that Liz Cheney made headlines, not only for her endorsement of Kamala Harris, but also she made another endorsement, this time in the U.S. Senate race down in Texas. She endorsed Representative Colin Allred, who is, that's right, the Democrat who's running against Republican Senator Ted Cruz. So now she's out there endorsing another Democrat. But we are to believe, that their endorsements matter. That's just, and Senator Cruz being, they were totally unfazed. They said, we're definitely super surprised to hear that Liz Cheney, the poster child of flip-flopping, is endorsing Colin Allred, said a spokesperson. 2 years ago, the voters of Wyoming overwhelmingly rejected her, just like the voters of Texas will overwhelmingly reject Colin Allred in his or this November. But hey, misery loves company. The campaign of Ted Cruz. So these endorsements really are a big story from the weekend. I don't know how much are they going to impact you at all. We'll talk about that in more detail this morning. Also, Donald Trump has made some comments to which the media is, and this story is actually trending this morning. So I want to share with you what he actually said on Truth Social. And then we'll get into the some of the other reaction. But Trump posted on Truth Social, he said, I, together with many attorneys and legal scholars, am watching the sanctity of the 2024 presidential election very closely because I know better than most the rampant cheating and skullduggery that has taken place by the Democrats in the 2020 presidential election. It was a disgrace to our nation, he said. Therefore, the 2024 election, where votes have just started being cast, will be under the closest professional scrutiny. And when I win, those people that cheated will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences so that this depravity of justice does not happen again. We cannot let our country further devolve into a third world nation, and we won't. Please be aware that this legal exposure extends to lawyers, political operatives, donors, illegal voters, and corrupt election officials. Those involved in unscrupulous behavior will be sought out, caught, and prosecuted at levels, unfortunately, never seen before in our country. So that's what Donald Trump said on Truth Social on Saturday. And so the headlines read, Trump threatens prosecution of 2024 election officials who cheated if he wins the presidency. AP News saying Trump threatens to jail adversaries. Is that what you heard? It's not what I heard. Threatens to jail adversaries in escalating rhetoric ahead of the debate. So I don't know as to whether it was wise to make that statement just ahead of the debate, which is coming up hours away from likely the only presidential debate that we'll see between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. But that's the statement that he made. And it's a big story this morning, so I wanted to at least share it with you. Also, you've got a growing number of people. Alan Dershowitz now said on Newsmax yesterday he regards himself as an independent. And he said, the Democratic Party has left me, Alan Dershowitz said. And he said, he pointed out that speakers, a number of the speakers at the Democrat convention, he was saying, this is not the kind of party I can feel associated with. I've been a Democrat for 60 years or more. I voted for John F. Kennedy, and I voted for every Democratic presidential candidate. And now he said, as an independent, he has become disgusted by the anti-Jewish rhetoric that he has seen on display from Democrats. So he said he has strongly supported Donald Trump against the legal charges he's been facing. But yesterday he said he still hasn't decided if he'll vote for Trump or Kamala Harris. And he said, but he had strong words for Harris about staying away from her duties to preside over the Senate when Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu gave an address to Congress this summer. And he's upset with Kamala Harris for this, saying that was a terrible, terrible thing to do, he told Newsmax. So Alan Dershowitz, who has been, said the Democratic Party has left me, but he seems to be still having some, when you voted as a Democrat for 60 years, he's having some difficulty, I think. Whereas you watch folks like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who he's moved forward. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's in a post on X. Kennedy said, there's been an inversion now where the Republican Party has become the party of the common man, of working people, of the middle class. And the Democratic Party has become the party of Wall Street, the military-industrial complex, big pharma, big ag, big tech, the big banking systems, and all of what Donald Trump calls the deep state, he said. And he said that the system in place against Trump is an oppressive system, he said. It's an oligarchy. He said the kind of system that we fought a revolution to overthrow in 1776. So now Kennedy, instead of saying make America great again, is using, instead of MAGA, it's MAHA, make America healthy again. So it's Kennedy's take on Donald Trump's slogan. Also, new polls show that Kamala Harris facing a major challenge in winning over male voters. She is losing men by a bigger margin than she's winning women. And this is happening in key states, Pennsylvania, Nevada, North Carolina. So She's losing men and doing so at a larger and greater numbers than she's gaining women. Other stories that are trending this morning, Elon Musk posted on X over the weekend that SpaceX planning its first unmanned starships to Mars. And he said that the first will happen this year. It will be an unmanned attempted landing on Mars. So that will be unmanned starships. And he said, if all goes well, he said the first starships to Mars will launch in 2 years when the next Earth-Mars transfer window opens. These will be uncrewed to test the reliability of landing intact on Mars. If those landings go well, then the first crewed flights to Mars will be in 4 years. So again, they're waiting for the both Earth and Mars to be at the closest point to each other. That's why they're waiting for hence the 4-year windows. And then also Beetlejuice had a $110 million opening weekend, doing phenomenally well. So that is the big movie at the box office. Beetlejuice. Deadpool and Wolverine came in at 7.2 million, Reagan at 5.2 million. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Thanks so much for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. Very much appreciate it. This hour of our show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Weekday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Kello Hotline is brought to you by Tires. See in-store details about how to get rebates from major tire manufacturers. 2 Sioux Falls locations to serve you.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Anderson picture and combination windows. Optimizing a beautiful view and lighten the bedroom, kitchen, or living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls. Call 605-646-2667 today.
Let's ABC Seamless.
Grain Insight is an algorithm-based managed bushel service to help farmers level the playing field. Grain Insight was designed at managing risk to take the emotion out of grain marketing. Text GRAIN at 605-291-1020 for more information. Grading features an option involves transfer risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors or producers.
We don't just meet expectations, we exceed them. We don't just follow best practices, we set them. With Mitchell Roofing and Siding, you're not just choosing a service provider, you're choosing a partner who is relentless in the pursuit of perfection. A partner who believes in getting better every single day. Together, we're not just building roofs, we're building a legacy of betterment for generations to come. Here's to the future where we continue to get better together. Mitchell Roofing and Siding. Call us today, 996-8648.
Attention, if you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-467-2766. 800-467-2766. 800-467-2766.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com. Mostly sunny skies today for the Sioux Falls area. Our high at 86 and a south wind at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Forecast tonight, low temperature at 66 with a south wind at 15 to 25. And then for tomorrow, even warmer with a high around 80.
In Sioux Falls at 6:30, Fair skies in 58. News headlines coming up. We'll check in with Fox News Radio. Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center. Got an email from Carrie. The Cheney endorsements make sense when one remembers the millions of dollars Dick Cheney and Halliburton made off the Gulf Wars. Thanks so much for the email, Carrie. Appreciate it.
For the first presidential debate tomorrow between former President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris in Philadelphia. New Hampshire's GOP Governor Chris Sununu tells Fox.
The number one issue is still, it's not the economy, it's the cost of living, right? And that's one thing I encourage the former President Trump to really focus on, the rent, the cost of groceries, fuel, paying an electric bill.
Versus the Kamala Harris message about freedom. Former First Lady Melania Trump posted a video Sunday talking about the Biden-Harris high cost of living and efforts to silence Donald Trump. The House out with a scorching report on accountability for the disastrous U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, saying the Biden-Harris administration ignored military advice and chose optics over security. The State Department says the president acted in the best interest of the American people. America is listening to Fox News.
Kello News Time 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. Congressman Dusty Johnson is on the campaign trail talking about the issues facing the United States. Speaking to a group of voters in Watertown, Johnson pointed to China as a key problem.
We know is that China is clearly our nation's biggest adversary. They're attacking us every day from a cybersecurity perspective. They have a larger Navy than we do. They have more missiles. They have more fighters. I'm on the select committee on China, and I've been able to have a front seat view in making sure that we're working our tail off to remain competitive.
He feels that unresolved national problems on behalf of the Biden-Harris administration will lead to a Republican victory this November. The search is still on for a Sioux Falls man who has been missing since Wednesday. Tyler Weathersby reportedly went on a walk early Wednesday morning and never returned. Weathersby is described as a 31-year-old African-American, black hair, brown eyes, 6 feet tall, and 155 pounds. He was last seen wearing a white shirt, black shorts, and a tan beanie. He also reportedly left without his phone or wallet. Anyone with information is asked to contact Sioux Falls PD. The summer heat is back this week with daytime high temperatures in the high 80s, low 90s for much of South Dakota. Temps in Sioux Falls won't be as bad this week with daytime highs in the low to mid 80s. Drought conditions persist, especially in some western parts of the state. Pennington and Harding counties now have areas in extreme drought. Good news for parents trying to find childcare here in Sioux Falls. Vibrant Minds Learning Center has opened in the old Apple Tree location on Valhalla Boulevard. It was one of the 3 Apple Tree centers that shut down earlier this year. The new facility is enrolling children ages 6 weeks to 5 years old. In sports over the weekend, the Canaries ended the season in the West Division Series, losing to the Winnipeg Goldeyes 10-3. The Coyotes lost to Wisconsin 27-13. The Jackrabbits beat Incarnate Word 45-24. And the Minnesota Vikings smacked the Giants 28-6. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Weather brought to you by Intech Cleaning and Restoration. If you need it clean, call the Intech team. IntechClean.com.
Mostly sunny skies today for the Sioux Falls area. High temperature at 86 with a south wind at 10 to 20. Lows tonight will be back in the mid-60s with a steady south wind. And we'll kick off your Tuesday with warmer weather. High temperature close to 89 with a south wind at 15 to 25. Upper 80s will continue Wednesday. From the Storm Center at Kettleland TV, I'm Brian Karstens.
The world comes at you pretty fast. We'll help you make sense of it all. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9 and Kello.com.
Today, Apple's going to unveil its much anticipated iPhone 16. Over the years, iPhone updates have lost their excitement, but this could all change. I'm Ken Commando for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Accelerate your AI workload today. Take a free test drive at oracle.com/Kim. I use the word could if the rumors are true. If Apple really has revolutionary AI tech built right into the iPhone and the new iOS 18, Apple promised that this new phone will understand you better, that it's going to talk to you like a real person. It's going to take action across apps, such as an email automatically scheduling a meeting on your calendar and notifying everyone concerned. Apple says the new phone is going to learn your habits and your personality. Well, that's big-time hype, the stuff of science fiction. But if anyone can live up to it, it would be Apple. Also look for an even better camera and no big price increase on any of these new models. In October, we'll see new iPad minis and MacBooks. Enter to win a brand new iPhone 16 now at winfromkim.com. AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud. Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing, and of course, nobody does that better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less like Uber, 8x8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/Kim. That's oracle.com/Kim, oracle.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Okay.
Tires, your Give You More tire and automotive store. Financing programs available. 2 Sioux Falls locations to serve you.
In the extreme heat of summer, when your air conditioning breaks down, you can always count on Hander Plumbing and Heating Service Department 24/7. Just call Hander Plumbing and Heating, and one of Hander's experienced HVAC service technicians will be there to get a hander on it. At the Diamond Room by Spectre, you'll find the largest selection of loose diamonds in the Sioux Empire area. Whether you're looking for an engagement ring, anniversary gift, or starting to think about Christmas, locally owned and operated since 1996, the Diamond Room. There's no comparison.
Biden is dead set to get as much done as possible before leaving office. That should frighten every American. Why? Because nearly $1 trillion of infrastructure and pandemic funds have yet to be spent. When Biden pushes these funds out, we could see another prolonged inflation surge, just like during COVID. And I'm sure you remember the terrible effects that high prices had on most Americans. Hi, Donald Trump Jr. here, letting you know that a surge in prices can be beaten. A gold IRA from Birch Gold Group is the ultimate inflation hedge in uncertain times. To see how to protect your IRA or 401k, get your free info kit on gold by texting the word hedge to 989898. Birch Gold makes it seamless to roll over your retirement account while preserving your tax advantage status. Don't wait for Biden's spending spree to tank the dollar further. Protect your financial future now. Text hedge to the number 989898 for your free info kit from Birch Gold, paid for by Birch Gold Group.
These days, with all the nonsense that poses as news, we all...
.638 fair skies and 58 currently at Kello. Forgive my voice this morning. Think I came down with a bit of a bug over the weekend, so bear with me a little bit this morning. Great to be with you this hour of the Greg Belfrage Show, brought to you by the window shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook. Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that.
News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
Stories that are trending this morning, a lot about endorsements. We've had Liz Cheney endorsing Kamala Harris in the presidential race, followed by Dick Cheney endorsing Kamala Harris in the presidential race. Sarah Huckabee Sanders now over the weekend said that Liz Cheney is someone who wants to protect the establishment, she said. And she said Cheney and other Republicans supporting Harris are in the minority, and that her endorsement is ultimately a non-factor. She said, I'm not trying to be rude, but you don't get to call yourself a conservative or a Republican when you support the most radical nominee that the Democrats have ever put up. She said, it doesn't make you a conservative, certainly doesn't make you a Republican, and I think it makes you somebody who wants to protect the establishment. It was Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. So with all of these people coming out, Dick Cheney supporting Kamala Harris, what about George W. Bush? And a spokesperson for former President Bush said over the weekend he does not plan to make an endorsement or to even voice how he or his wife will be voting. And so the answer is no. And his office said he retired from presidential politics many years ago. You've got now talking about Sanders. This, though, is Senator Bernie Sanders saying that he considers Kamala Harris progressive. Her policy changes are pragmatic. And he is also appreciative of the Cheneys endorsing Kamala Harris. Sanders made it clear, doesn't agree with the Cheneys on anything, but he appreciated them speaking out on this because it's an important issue then in saving democracy. All right. Also trending this morning, Donald Trump holds a narrow lead over Kamala Harris in the latest New York Times Siena poll. So Harris and Trump are neck and neck nationally in this new poll. Again, it depends on what polls you look at, but this story is trending. So Harris and Trump separated by 1 point in the poll. Poll took place September 3rd through the 6th, found 47% of likely voters backing Harris, 48% back Trump. So Trump ahead by 1. And if you know anything about polls, you're well within the margin of error. So it's could go either way, according to the New York Times Siena poll. Also, Donald Trump warning Kamala Harris and her campaign donors that they will not escape retribution if they play a role in stealing the 2024 election. So some of the media reports regarding this are, honestly, they're slanted. Which is one of the reasons why I read for you earlier this hour, I read Donald Trump's actual post off of True Social. I wanted you to hear it as it is, rather than the media and the spin that they put on it. Should he have said it? I think is a great question, especially right before the debate coming up this week. But that story is trending. Also, Alan Dershowitz leaving the Democrat Party. He was doing an interview with a radio host, Zeb Brenner, and he was talking about the Democratic National Convention. And Dershowitz said it was the most anti-Jewish, anti-Israel, anti-Zionist convention I've experienced. I was disgusted at the Democratic National Convention. Absolutely disgusted, he said. And he also went on, and I think this was back in May, he had announced that his departure from the Democratic Party. He said, I'm no longer a Democrat. I'm an independent, he said. And then he wouldn't reveal who he was voting for president until possibly after November 1st. He said, I want to see how they deal with Iran. I want to encourage the current administration to support Israel. But he said of leaving the party, he said, a lot of things push me in that direction. Also trending this morning, Donald Trump in Wisconsin on Saturday, and he pledged to throw up tariffs, clamp down on illegal immigrants, he said, are stealing jobs and killing Americans, he said, trying to solidify support among working class and rural people. It's a big part of Donald Trump's base. So we talked about the threat that illegal aliens pose in Wisconsin. He said crime is through the roof, and you haven't seen the migrant crime yet. It started and it's vicious, but you haven't seen the extent of it yet, Trump said. Also, there's a manhunt that will continue in southeastern Kentucky. It resumed early yesterday. Law enforcement searching for the gunman who authorities say opened fire near Interstate 75, injured 7 people in the shooting, and also resulted in a car accident. So law enforcement agencies over the weekend then, especially yesterday, combing the area along the highway on foot and with a drone, because the shooting happened Saturday evening. Authorities have named Joseph A. Couch as a person of interest in the shooting. He's armed and dangerous, police say, 32 years old. So the search will continue today. Also trending this morning, 2 NATO members are saying that Russian drones violated their airspace. One reportedly flew into Romania during nighttime attacks on neighboring Ukraine, while another crashed in eastern Latvia the previous day. This is from CBS News. So a drone entered Romanian territory early yesterday as Moscow struck civilian targets and port infrastructure in Ukraine. And this goes on. Investigations underway of a potential impact zone in an uninhabited area along the Romanian-Ukrainian border. No immediate reports of casualties or damage, but you've got 2 members of NATO saying that Russian drones have violated their airspace. Also, we're learning as we follow up on the shooting at the high school in Georgia last week. The mother of this 14-year-old boy who was charged said over the weekend that she alerted the school counselor the morning of the shooting that there was an extreme emergency and her son needed to be found. So this was reported by the Washington Post over the weekend. And Annie Brown said, I was the one that okay, this is a text message that the mother is sending to her sister. And she said, I was the one that notified the school counselor at the high school. I told them it was an extreme emergency and for them to go immediately and find my son and check on him. No word here, though, as to, at least in this is a story from USA Today, but it was the Washington Post that reported this over the weekend. She apparently declined to elaborate on what prompted her to warn the school, but the grandfather of this young boy told the New York Post Saturday that after she had received a text message from her son that read, "I'm sorry, Mom." That whole thing is a mess. You got the grandfather. You've heard the statements from the grandfather of the shooter, who's really upset with the boy's father. And New York Post has got that story. Really got some rough things to say about him. All right, few sports stories that are trending this morning. Dallas Cowboys giving $240 million Dak Prescott, the richest contract in NFL history. So it's a record $240 million 4-year contract extension that makes Dak Prescott the highest paid leader than, highest paid player in the history of the league. Other sports stories that are trending: Northern Illinois upset number 5 Notre Dame in a week 2 upset. Also, Angel Reese has announced her first WNBA season is over. So, due to a wrist injury, she released the news in a statement on Saturday night. She didn't specify what the issue was, and the Chicago Sky later said it was a wrist problem that was to blame, but they didn't elaborate any further. Is it, will she need surgery? We don't know. Also, the president and CEO of Waffle House is dead at the age of 58. Walt Emmer spent 32 years with Waffle House. Also, Kendrick Lamar has been tapped to headline the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show. There's a YouTuber by the name of Nikocado Avocado? And he has been doing binge eating videos. And apparently he's fooled his audience. He was losing weight secretly. And 250 pounds that this guy lost. And the videos, he continued to post videos of himself in this binge eating that he was doing. And the videos were real, but they were months and months old. So he continued to post them then as if they were current, even though the videos were months old. Meanwhile, he loses 250 pounds, and then he unveils this to everyone that he's lost all this weight. And it's pretty dramatic. Saw some of the photos this morning, pretty dramatic. Also, Italy's Jannik Sinner defeated Taylor Fritz to win his first U.S. Open title. So he claimed his second Grand Slam title of the year with straight sets victory over Taylor Fritz to win the U.S. Open. Also, I don't think this will be much of a surprise to you that Joe Biden has spent 40%, just over 40% of his presidency on vacation. The Republican National Committee shared a video of Biden lounging on a chair at the beach, appeared to be talking on the phone. And they said, Biden spent today his 16th straight day on vacation, lounging on the beach. He has spent a total of 532 days on vacation. Who's running the country? It's a great question. Wynn Resorts has agreed to pay $130 million to federal authorities and is admitting that they let unlicensed money transfer businesses around the world funnel funds to gamblers at their flagship property in Las Vegas. So it's a pretty big settlement, $130 million. Also, the Pope was welcomed during a ceremony in New Guinea upon his arrival on Friday, and that story is still trending this morning. The Pope is continuing his Asian and South Pacific tour. An investigation is underway after an Air Force Academy cadet was found dead in her dorm room in Colorado Springs. So the Academy identified the woman as a 19-year-old woman from Texas, and she was a graduate of Taylor, from Taylor, Texas, enrolled in the Air Force Academy. Shortly afterward, she was found unconscious on Wednesday. She was an athlete on the track and field team, and the cause of her death is under investigation. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. This hour brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
That is constant, is change. So check.
Well, thank you so much, my friend, for letting me start your day this morning. Again, I'm really sorry for the state of my voice, but great to be with you. If you'll hit the like button, I would very much appreciate it. And I hope to see you again soon. Take care, and may God bless.